Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So today, guys, what I'm going to be bringing to you guys is, of course, going to be the Championship Roundup. And boy, oh boy, did the Championship come back with a bang this weekend. So in today's video, guys, we're going to, of course, be discussing all of the action which did take place on both Friday and Saturday. And as well as that, we're also going to be predicting all the games which are taking place on Monday and Tuesday in the Championship as well. So we've got a lot to go ahead and discuss in today's video, guys. You know, some of the games we have to talk over brought up just some ridiculous talking points, so I'm really interested to get your guys' opinion on what you thought of all this weekend's Championship action in the comments down below. As well as that, make sure you do get your score predictions in for the next round of fixtures that are coming up. I'll be including mine nearer to the end of the video, but just to make it easy for you guys, I will leave all this week's fixtures in the description down below, and then you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, guys, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. So just before we do get into going over any of the games, guys, I will include your guys' comments on screen now. So if any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct this weekend, I will include your comments on screen now. And fair play to everyone who did get a score prediction correct. I managed to get one of my score predictions correct this weekend. That was the Brentford against Sheffield United game. So fair play to everyone who did get theirs right. I'd also be interested to know from you guys, what did you think was the goal and result of the weekend, as we had quite a few contenders for them. But apart from that, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the action. So our first game to go ahead and talk over was the early kickoff on Friday between Millwall and Nottingham Forest, which saw Millwall go to winning just 1 point of the playoffs now, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It was quite a comfortable 2-0 victory over Forest. You know, they took the lead in about 30 seconds. They got off to a really fast start in this one with Sean Williams heading them in front, and then they made it 2-0 with a nice finish from Lee Gregory after 33 minutes. And Forest in this game, they weren't at their best, really, you know, considering they were coming off the back of an unbeaten run where they've been putting in pretty good performances. They didn't help themselves by not getting off to a fast start in this one, and going forward, they couldn't really seem to break down Millwall. You know, they are a very resilient side, Millwall, and when they do go in front, they are very efficient in closing out a game. You know, Forest's best chances probably fell to Velios and Matty Cash, but even so, you can never really see them getting back into it. But the question I ask to you guys now is, pretty much with everyone else around the top 6 losing or drawing this week, apart from Millwall, that gave them an incredible advantage this weekend, and to be just 1 point off the playoffs now, we have to be taking them seriously. It could seriously happen. The next game was a very lively encounter between Barnsley and Bristol City. In the end, this one did finish as a 2-2 draw, and definitely wasn't short of drama. It was Barnsley who took the lead fairly early on, the goal coming from a corner. Quite, you know, disappointing defending really from Bristol City not to be seeing that out, but Bristol City got back into it with a fantastic goal from Jeju. He got the ball on the edge of the box, a nice bit of skill to beat his man, and then bent it into the top corner deliciously to go ahead and level it up. But I've got to say, I was quite impressed with Barnsley's performance. You know, once again, a common theme throughout their season so far is, you know, they're not shy of creating chances. The more of that could be seen in this game. You know, when the game was 1-1 and before Barnsley got their second through Brad Potts, they had a whole lot of chances to go ahead and take the lead, and they probably could have killed off the game if they had put in some of those chances. But Brad Potts, they managed to put them ahead in the 78th minute with a nice finish from him, and then in stoppage time it was Josh Brownhill who managed to pop up with a looping header to go ahead and level up for Bristol City. Barnsley, though, this does now mean that they have dropped back into the relegation zone, with of course some of the other sides at the bottom winning this weekend. So it's getting very tight there down there now, and I'd be interested to see from you guys, who do you think's going down at the moment? And this game then finished as a 1-1 draw between Brentford and Sheffield United, and this was a really bizarre game actually. It was Chris Basham who gave Sheffield United the lead, and I've got to say in this one, Sheffield United, they did put in a quite good performance actually. Brentford, I thought they were a little bit below par. You know, some of their passing was a little bit sloppy in this one, definitely not quite living up to the expectations that they have done in other games, but nevertheless they managed to get back into the game in the second half. And then when Brentford got their equaliser, we then saw 2 players sent off. It was Blackman, the Sheffield United goalkeeper, and Ryan Woods, as it was just a really silly sending off really. Woods tried to get the ball off him, he wouldn't give it back to him. There was a bit of a scuffle between them two, and then they both went ahead and got sent off for it. And then after that, you got to say, Daniel Bentley in goal for Brentford went ahead and saved them the point really. He popped up with some massive saves for them. Sheffield United probably should have gone on to win it with the chance chances they did have, but fair play to Bentley for keeping them in the game. The next game saw Cardiff extend their current winning run to yet another week as they managed to see off Burton Albion by 3 goals to 1, and this result has now sent Burton to the bottom of the Championship, so things definitely not looking brilliant for them at the moment. It was Kenneth Sahore who managed to put Cardiff in front in this one, and then Burton actually went ahead and got back into the game. They managed to get in behind that Cardiff defence, and Darren Bent went ahead and slotted it in for 1-1, and then just before half time Mendes Liang went ahead and made it 2-1 to Cardiff. And you got to think, really, if Burton managed to get into half time at 1-1, it's a completely different game going into the second half. But then when Burton are chasing it in the second half, they have to come out a little bit more, and it did make it quite easy for Cardiff to go ahead and see out the game. It was Callum Patterson who managed to pop up with yet another goal. He's been in some really good goal scoring form lately to make it 3-1 to Cardiff, and so Cardiff, they are looking pretty much guaranteed now for automatic promotion, despite how well Fulham are playing at the moment. I think that gap's just going to be too big. With Burton Albion though, I mean, I'm not sure where these points are going to come from for them. Our next game then saw Leeds get back to winning ways with a pretty comfortable 2-1 home victory over Bolton. In the first half, Leeds pretty much had the majority of it, really. They pretty much dominated that first half. They managed to take the lead with a nice goal after just 4 minutes, and going into the second half then, Pablo Hernandez then managed to double the lead for Leeds. And then in fairness to Bolton, they did show quite a bit of spirit to go ahead and try and get back into the game. It was Adam Lafondra just 3 minutes later with a nice finish to get Bolton back into the game at 2-1. They tried to create a bit more, you know, they just didn't have that quality to go ahead and really get that equaliser. Lafondra was trying a few things, Amiobi as well, but they just couldn't get anything over the line, really. But overall, Leeds, they did deserve the victory in this one. Bolton weren't at their best, really, you know. A lot of Bolton's game plans so far this season, especially when they've been going away from home, is to keep it tight in the early exchanges, and realistically that just went out the window with Leeds getting that early goal. You know, that really put Bolton on the back foot for this one, and they never fully recovered from that. So a bit of a setback for Bolton, but a nice victory for Leeds. Then we saw Fulham continue their impressive streak in the Championship. I believe now with this 2-0 victory over Norwich, that's now 17 in the league that they are now unbeaten, which is absolutely bonkers. And considering that even though they're 17 unbeaten, they're still 7 points off Cardiff, it just is a testament to how good Cardiff have been lately. But nevertheless, it was quite a comfortable one, really, for Fulham in the end. Norwich weren't really at it completely in this game, and 2 goals in 4 minutes, actually. It was Johansson and Tom Kearney with 2 nice second half finishes to go ahead and wrap it up for Fulham. In this one, Norwich, they tried to be a bit creative, you know. Players like Josh Murphy and Madison created a few chances for them, but nothing too clear cut to go ahead and say they should have got something from this game, and in the end it was quite a comfortable one for Fulham. And our next game went ahead and finished Sheffield Wednesday 4, Preston North End 1, and oh my god, Jesus, this was painful to watch. We did not, it was some of the worst football I've seen from Preston in a while, really. But the first half of this one went ahead and finished 0-0. It was quite nip and tug between the two sides. Preston had some pretty good opportunities. You know, Ben Davies had a fantastic one where he really should have buried, really. He was inside the 6-yard box and he headed it straight into Joe Wildsmith's hands. And if that goes in for Preston, we take the lead. Maybe it's a different game, but we were shoddy going forward, you know. Some of our attacking play really wasn't up to scratch in this game, and our high-pressing football, you know, Sheffield Wednesday were just bypassing it, really. But one thing I would say is, going into the second half, Sheffield Wednesday adapted well to the game. They went ahead and brought Lucas Jow on. They went 2 up front, and realistically, we just didn't adapt to that, really, you know. As soon as they went 2 up front, they had much more of a presence going forward, and then they managed to score 2 goals within 3 minutes. It was Nuhiu who gave them the lead, and then Lucas Jow managed to double their advantage after just 53 minutes. And then after that, Louis Moult did manage to get Preston back into the game. He made it 2-1, and you're thinking maybe we'll get something back from this game, you know, maybe a last minute goal. A draw wouldn't have been a bad result at that point. And then somehow Anthony Nuhiu pops up with an absolutely outrageous attempt. He gets the ball from the corner flag thrown to him. He then goes past about 4 Preston players. I think he nutmegs Paul Gallagher. And then with his weak foot from the edge of the box, he bends it into the top corner past Declan Rudd. And I was just shell-shocked. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think he had that in his locker. But it is most definitely a contender for the goal of the weekend. And then to make things even worse, Forestieri came on for his return. And he managed to make it 4-1. 4-1 with a free kick in the 96th minute. So the only positive for Preston could be that pretty much everyone else around us also dropped points this weekend, so it's not the worst result in the world, but fair play to Sheffield Wednesday. They were by far and large the better side than us, especially in that second half. They were very clinical. And then our next game was another really lively affair actually. This one managed to finish as a 2-1 away victory for Wolves, but it was definitely not an easy ride for them. In the first half, Middlesbrough, they crafted quite a few opportunities, most of them coming from set plays and corners where they were looking quite dangerous from, you know, players like Daniel Ayala definitely getting in and amongst it. But then Wolves managed to take the lead after 32 minutes, a very nice finish from Helder Costa into the roof of the net, and then shortly after that, Cavallero managed to go ahead and double their advantage. So going into half-time at 2-0, you know, you'd expect a side like Wolves to go ahead and close out the game without too much drama, but then in the second half, I mean, it all started kicking off really. They had two players sent off, both Ruben Neves and Doherty went ahead and got sent off, both for 2 yellow cards. The Ruben Neves, really, it was reckless, you know, I don't know why he's going in for a challenge like that when he's already on a yellow card. The first yellow card was just a bit bizarre really, you know, when I was watching it on TV, I didn't know that Neves had already been booked, but apparently he had. He would, of course, went ahead and then got sent off. Doherty then went in for a header with George Friend, where he looks to raise his hand going into that, so that was another yellow card for him. That now leaves Wolves with 9 men to go ahead and close out this game. One thing I would say before that is Middlesbrough, you could argue Middlesbrough did get quite fortunate that they didn't have a man sent off as well. They had a couple of hard challenges going in on Wolves players where you could argue, given some of the other things that went against Wolves, Middlesbrough could have also been reduced to 10 men. But even so, Wolves were then down to 9 men. Middlesbrough were pressing and pressing, and you've got to give it to Wolves. They defended excellently for the last 20 or so minutes for this game, you know. They were putting blocks in fantastically. Ruddy popped up with some big saves. Then in the 94th minute, Bamford gave Middlesbrough a little bit of hope. It was a fantastic finish from him. He rifled it into the back of the net, but in the end that wasn't going to be enough for Middlesbrough, and Wolves managed to hang on for that victory. And it was fair to say that their manager Nuno was pretty happy at full time, but even so, it was a good victory for Wolves. Middlesbrough, though, a little bit disappointed not to get anything from it. Then we saw Paul Clement get off to a fantastic start as Reading manager, as they managed to go ahead and see off QPR by 1-0. And Sonny Aluko managed to give Reading the lead in this one, and it was a thunderbolt of a strike. He managed to dazzle his way in and out of a couple of QPR players, and then he rifled it into the back of the net, into the top corner, and there was no stopping that really. That was a terrific solo goal from him. And then after that, QPR, they should have levelled. They had a whole lot of chances in this game, and how QPR ended this game without getting a goal, I am still baffled by really, you know. They had a whole ton of chances. Then we saw in the second half, late on, Jan Kermigan went ahead and got sent off for 2 yellow cards, and then very late on in this game, QPR went ahead and got a penalty, but Vito Minone managed to step up and save it for them. So there's no doubt that QPR probably should have got something from it, but fair play to Reading for holding on to it. They showed that spirit to go ahead and see this one out, and realistically that could be a massive result for them, especially considering a lot of other sides at the bottom this week picked up wins as well. And on this game, went ahead and finished Sunderland 4, Derby County 1, and I've got to be honest, I will hold my hand up. I did not see this one coming, but oh my word, Derby were just an absolute shambles in this game, but we'll get to that in a minute. Well, first of all, I've got to praise Sunderland because they were absolutely fantastic in this game. In the end, it did finish 4-1 to them, but I don't think anyone could complain if this went ahead and finished 6 or 7-1 to them. They were running the show in this one. Aidan McGeady in this game was absolutely terrific. He was pulling the strings for them, and realistically, everyone for Sunderland had an absolutely terrific game, you know. When John O'Shea is popping up to make it 4-1 to Sunderland, you know that something's going wrong with Derby, and Derby in this one were absolutely shambolic. It's the worst I've seen a championship side play in quite a while actually. They just completely lost their heads in this one, and when you consider now Derby are without a win in their last 8 championship games, something just fundamentally goes wrong with Derby at this point in time in a season, and I don't know what it is, but in this game Honeyman gave Sunderland the lead. It was quite a, you know, deflected goal, a bit lucky with that one. Ashley Fletcher then managed to make it 2-0, a horrific mistake from Keogh to go ahead and let that in. But then when Vydra makes it 2-1 with a nice finish from him, you think, you know what, Derby, you know, second half, they're more than going to be up for this. They'll get back into it in the second half. That just didn't happen. Sunderland were straight back at them again. McGeady managed to convert a penalty. Then John O'Shea pops up and makes it 4-1. And then apart from that, Sunderland had other chances. They hit the post, they hit the crossbar. Carlson had to pop up with a couple of saves. And overall, it was just an absolute shambles from Derby. So Derby fans, let me know down below just what went so wrong for you in this game. This win for Sunderland now lifts them off the bottom of the table. And with an encouraging performance like that, you've got to say they've got a chance. And then we saw Birmingham go ahead and claim a massive 3 points with a 1-0 home victory over Ipswich. And in this one, the only goal of the game came from a penalty which Jota managed to convert in the first half, and that was enough to see off Ipswich in the end, of course. With other sides at the bottom of the Championship picking up points this weekend, this was vital that Birmingham got something from this one, and this of course managed to go ahead and lift them out of the bottom 3 for the time being. I'd be interested to hear from a couple of Ipswich fans as to what do you think will happen from now until the end of the season, of course. With Mick McCarthy announcing that he will be leaving at the end of the season, it sort of leaves them in limbo, you know. I've got a feeling that their season may just peter out now. And their last game to go ahead and talk over did actually finish as quite a disappointing 0-0 in the end. And of course, Aston Villa lately, their form really has seemed to drop off, you know. Ever since that Wolves victory, they've never really been able to live up to the same expectations. And the more of that was on show in this game here today, of course. They had a great chance to go ahead and take the lead, but Albert Adoma went ahead and fired his shot over the crossbar. And after that, in the second half, you got to say Hull definitely stepped up their game. And if it wasn't for a couple of nice saves from Sam Johnson and maybe a bit more better finishing from Hull, they probably would have gone ahead and won this game. Towards the end of it, Aston Villa definitely were pushing a lot more to go ahead and try and find that winner, but in the end, it was never going to come. So in the end, a point, not a bad one for Hull, but Aston Villa, not the best at the moment. There were all the matches that did take place this weekend. So in terms of my result of the weekend, I mean, I'm going to have to go ahead and give it to Sunderland for getting that fantastic 4-1 victory over Derby County. It's lifted them off the bottom of the Championship, and I don't think anyone saw that coming. And then in terms of my goal of the weekend, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Sheffield Wednesday's new Hugh for his second goal against Preston. Don't get me wrong, there are some other fantastic contenders, but from a weak-footed effort from the edge of the box to curl it into the top corner, that gets my goal of the weekend. So let's go ahead and jump into these. So we've got Preston going up against Derby, two of the sides who both lost 4-1 this week, and honestly, both Preston and Derby this season boast the most amount of draws in the Championship, so I've got a feeling that both coming off the back of an awful result last time, it's going to be quite a cagey affair in this one, and I've got a feeling we're actually going to draw this one, so I'm going to say this one will finish as a 1-1. Bristol City going up against Brentford, quite a few goals could be scored in that one, and I do fancy Bristol City to get back to winning ways in that one. Brentford weren't quite at their best last time, so I'm going to go for a 3-2 home victory in that game. Burton going up against Middlesbrough, I think Middlesbrough will get back to winning ways with a comfortable 2-0 away victory. Ipswich going up against Millwall, like I said at the moment, I'm not sure where Ipswich Town's players' mentality are at the moment, and with how good Millwall have been, I'll go for a 1-0 away victory for them. Nottingham Forest going up against Barnsley, I'm going to go ahead and fancy that one to finish as a 1-1 draw. QPR going up against Norwich, I'm going to back QPR to go ahead and get back to winning ways with a 2-1 home victory. I thought they got quite unlucky against Reading. We've then got Sunderland going up against Sheffield Wednesday, and this is a game which I can't really call. Of course, both sides went ahead and won 4-1 this weekend, and Sunderland, are they going to be as good as they were against Derby, or are we going to see the same picture with them where they turn up one week and then next week it's just not the same picture? I'm just going to stick my neck out on the line and say this one's going to end as a 3-3 draw. I fancy goals to be scored in that one, so I'll say 3-3. Sheffield United going up against Cardiff, I've got to back Cardiff with how efficient they've been lately, I'll say 2-1. Then into some of the Tuesday kickoffs, we've got Aston Villa going up against Reading, I'll fancy that one to finish level as a draw. Fulham going up against Leeds, I'm going to fancy Fulham for the 3-1 home victory. Wolves going up against Hull, of course Wolves will be without quite a few of their first team players 2 of them through suspension. So for that one, I'll go for a slim 1-0 home victory. I don't think Hull are a bad side, really. Then we got Bolton going up against Birmingham, a massive game at the bottom of the Championship. And with how Bolton like to play this season, and Birmingham not really being the highest of scorers, of course, I see that one being quite a cagey affair, and I'm going to back it to finish as a goalless draw. So guys, there you have it. There are my score predictions for the games which are taking place on both Monday and Tuesday in the Championship. And make sure you guys go ahead and get your predictions in the comments down below. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.